My name is Brooke Redden, and I'm the Vice President of Redden Concrete. My husband Ethan and I own it, and he has been doing concrete since he was 6 years old. He started doing concrete with his father. He's had a trowel in his hand since then. Unfortunately, his father passed away in 2008, and at the young age of 20, Ethan had no choice but to grow up and figure it out. From there, we decided to take this company commercial. He had grown up doing residential. In 2008, unfortunately, the housing market was crashing and there just wasn't a lot of concrete happening at that time. Fortunately for him, he had learned a few neat things in the industry like decorative concrete. And so for a couple of years, he did that to kind of get us through. And then officially in 2010, we went commercial with our company. We never looked back from there. We are located in Melissa, Texas, and we vary between 325 and 350 employees at any given time. We are in our second full year of WorkMax from when we started working with you guys. The implementation took a few months, so you could add a little bit on that. So our biggest challenge was in the beginning was handwritten timesheets. And let's be honest, that is terrible. We were at the mercy of our guys writing down time. And a lot of times, not even so much a language barrier, but a handwriting barrier was a challenge we were up against. And so we began using another program that was piloted through our Computer Ease program, which is our accounting software that we use. However, that again was still just kind of a guesstimate. The guys weren't expected to put that in daily. It was just, hey, by the end of the week, make sure your time has been entered. Well, unfortunately, that took a lot of guys on Friday afternoons, Friday evenings, tallying up a whole week's worth of time that they thought was worked on their job site that week and then turning it in. And then we were hand typing everything in or hand entering all of the time. And so there was the possibility of so many different mistakes, miscalculations, things of that sort. And it just seemed, I don't know, it seemed barbaric. And so we started researching some ways as our company size was growing. We started researching ways that we could potentially streamline our hours process and hopefully make the payroll department's job just a little bit easier. And so that's when we came across WorkMax. Carl had given me a call several times and wanted me to try him out. And so we decided to. And that brought a lot of ease to the process because everything became automated. Instead of everything being on one person or two people to collect and put in the system, it was spread across every person in the company with some great check stops so that it wasn't a matter of, oh, so-and-so said so. It was, no, you're checked in with facial recognition. So we knew we had confidence behind what they were doing. And that's why we made the switch. So working with training and support has been absolutely fabulous. From the moment we started with them, they were extremely helpful. They explained everything. They were very thorough and understanding of my questions, even though we were using a program that not everyone's familiar with. It wasn't like we were with QuickBooks or one of your typical accounting software programs. We're with Computer Ease, and a lot of people don't know Computer Ease or how it works. And fortunately, you guys have a connection with Computer Ease, and now even more so through Deltek. The bridge of connection with our software programs made it so tremendously helpful. One thing that we went through that was my biggest issue was, how are we going to make sure that we are job costing properly? And that was the most important thing that WorkMax and the implementation team was able to thoroughly explain to me and give me all of the details and information that was necessary in order to make sure that our system was going to work. And that was before we ever even dove into the whole process. If I remember right, they actually got me in touch with someone that was very familiar with the process through the OWC program that we were going to have to set up in order for our systems to connect. And they actually walked me through it and made me understand how it was going to work. And that right there was key for me. I knew immediately, as soon as I was able to go through that and see that and understand it, I knew immediately it was going to be the perfect program for us. The things that I've been able to address with WorkMax that genuinely helped us get this program off the ground was specifically the job costing. Many people, especially in the industry, they do job costs, but they still use outside payroll sources. And with WorkMax, it's a one-stop shop. So not only are you going to be able to do all your job costing and get all of your hours in the system, it's going to be in there properly. And for me, that was probably one of the biggest things that that I felt like was taken care of, that I knew was going to be a huge issue. The second item that I was a little concerned about was going to be the language barrier. But I've noticed that the team is able to explain things in a way that I can take that straight to the guys and tell them, and as well as my HR and payroll department who are bilingual can explain these things very easily and with ease so that the guys aren't confused. They're able to pick up on it quickly. But just the overall way that the app is set up, especially the 2.0, it's very streamlined, and the guys, even with very little training, are able to pick up on it very, very quickly. So I think that that's huge. And then the third thing that would be a WorkMax solution that I feel like was very important to me was the security and the facial recognition. This was huge for us. I'm sure many people experience this in the industry, but there's such thing as ghost employees, and they happen every day. And this was one of the ways that we were able to really, really streamline that and prevent that was because of the facial recognition. And I think that that's huge. That's been wonderful. The guys I know are able to translate things better for themselves while they're looking at it. It's not a matter of, I think I know what that says, but it doesn't actually make sense to me. Now that they can read it in Spanish is wonderful. It's helped tremendously. The GPS and the geofencing is extremely helpful. We geofence our jobs, and additionally, it helps us to be able to make sure that the guys are actually clocking in on the job, which we've had instances where they were not, and we were able to easily see that when we receive the clock-ins on our side, and it gives us the red alert. On the toolbar, we can go in there and see immediately and check out exactly where they were. A lot of times it's been a very explainable situation. Oh, I had to stop off and get material at this place prior to arriving to the job, and so I went ahead and clocked in. And those are explainable situations, but it gives us the opportunity to give the employee the benefit of the doubt, and then also to find out, hey, you were in bed this morning when you clocked in. I could see your pillow. Let's talk about that. And so having that feature has allowed us to really, really streamline the process. So the overall fear of technology is a relevant question. The fear of technology in the field happens on the daily with our guys. However, we have been pushing technology for years now. That has been one of my biggest things that I've done in our company for the last several years, is tried to implement as many technological advances as possible. Just starting simply with the prior way that we kept time, even though it was online and it wasn't exactly tracking properly, it was still one small step, in technological advancement. Being able to do that has really set the guys free in the field to where they are able to focus on their job site, stay on their job site, complete paperwork, and everything that goes along with them being on the job site and not having to physically leave in order to get some of their tasks taken care of. So that's been absolutely huge to be able to have that. But there was definitely A little bit of struggle in the beginning, but nothing that we couldn't meet with them for 5 to 10 minutes, or even some of my guys that knew it very well, going to their job site and sitting down with them for a few minutes to teach them how to use it, didn't fix at all. So that was easily taken care of with just a little bit of training, extra training. So we definitely implemented a train the trainer type facilitation of this app. We were able to get a few guys in here specifically to teach them all the ins and outs of the app in order for them to go out into the field, especially for our guys that use the app on their own personal phones. We were able to have them go out and teach them how to use that and keep the flow going in the field so that there was no downtime. The production increase that I feel that we've received from WorkMax as a whole is tremendous. From the ease of clocking in, taking a solid maybe 5 minutes grand total on a job site in the morning, knowing that time is logged perfectly in the way it's supposed to be, and most likely in the right place as far as job costing is concerned, all the way to the ease of clocking out in the evening when they get done at the job site. Just knowing that that day is complete, I feel is not only rewarding for our payroll department, but also for our superintendents, because I can't imagine the stress that the superintendents would endure on Friday evenings, knowing, oh man, I was so busy this week and I did not keep up with my time throughout the whole week. And now I have to figure out a way to put all of this in and get it into my department so I can get all my guys paid. And I can only imagine the stress that they had from that. So just the overall ease from that has been tremendous. But the other item that I wanted to talk about that I feel has been a gigantic success in our field has been the forms. The forms module inside WorkMax has been key to our success. It has been able to streamline so many different processes, all the way from requesting vacation to notating an incident that happened, all the way to submitting a poor report or an entire safety stand down that we had. I have 6 pages of reports created inside our WorkMax login that these guys can access, and these forms are filled out. It's easily done. All of the fields are set up perfectly, and as soon as it's done, they sync the app and boom, it's exactly where it's supposed to be here in our office, in whoever's email is needing to have that in an instant. The forms part of it has been just as exciting as the timekeeping side of it. The fingertip access of being able to know where we're at with our time that day, I think is huge for our superintendents. They have an understanding within an instant of just logging in and viewing time logs of where they are on their job site, what hours they've put in, and what type of movement they've had on certain phases and categories on their job site. I think that's huge for them. Mentality wise, it gives them an idea of what they can project for the end of the week, which is huge too. It's a matter of, hey, on Friday, we're all done at noon because our production is here. And I think that that's just fabulous for them to have at their fingertips. Being able to immediately access any sort of information that we need out of WorkMax with the click of a button has been tremendous for us here in the office. There's been times where we may not know the whereabouts of somebody that's been sent over to another job that's not being necessarily fully manned at that time. WorkMax has given us the ability to find out when they arrived at the job site, what time they clocked in, how long they've been there, when they clocked out, just all in the matter of a few clicks of a button. That's been tremendous. Additionally, it's been able to give us the opportunity to run some reports on someone that may have not been keeping up with how long they've been on the job site or how many hours they've put in that week when we've been needing to know that. And then additionally, it's helped us, let's say in an instance that we're submitting for a change order and we can actually run a physical report of the people that are clocked in to that job, what they were doing, and clocked out, and be able to submit that report with a change order in order to give that to our general contractor when we're maybe requesting more time that has been put forth to the job that was necessary. The convenience of a cloud-based system is, there's no words to express it. It's incredible. Being able to access all of the reports, especially I want to go back on forms for a second, knowing that every single form that's ever been submitted from the field is backed up on a cloud-based system is so wonderful. Our guys will come in with handwritten reports on requesting something about a change that they made on the job. It'll get put on the project manager's desk and put in a file and set over here. And then a month later, nobody knows where it went. That doesn't happen anymore. With WorkMax, we have a cloud-based system that keeps up with everything that is submitted electronically. And just the ease of that access is wonderful. So as far as the return on investment, I would calculate basically a savings of 1 hour per day per employee for the year. And essentially what that calculation came out to, if you're running a man-hour average of $18 an hour, which I know today is probably a little bit more, but let's just be very simple here. We are looking to average around $1.6 million in savings. And the way that calculates is basically, if you were doing a rounding feature where people are getting to the job site 15, 20 minutes late, they're sitting on their lunch hour for 10 or 15 more minutes, and maybe they're leaving 10, 15 more minutes prior to what they said they're leaving. Because if you think about recording time, you say, oh, 8 to 5. I was there 8 to 5. Well, what if you were only there 8:30 to 4:30? Well, that equates to 1 hour. And the other thing that we did inside our system is that we set it on to the minute recording of time rather than a roundup or anything like that, because I'm telling you, those roundups get you. And so just on a very basic level, we did an average of 1 hour per day and calculated that out. And like I mentioned, that came out to $1.6 million. One thing I will mention that we saw a decrease in, and I specifically went over this in a prior interview that I had done with you guys, I was noticing on materials cost. And what I had done in our system inside forms, I set up a PO form request. And what that does is that creates a form that the guys sit in to our purchasing manager, and that is what they get their material with. And in saying that, they are able to get exactly what they need on their job sites, but it gives her the opportunity to price shop for them. So prior to that, it was a lot of phone calls back and forth. Let me call this vendor. Let me talk to that vendor, this, that, and the other, which phone calls can waste time. Rather, I know exactly what I need. Let me put it in this form, submit it in, and then boom, I don't have to worry about it from there because my purchasing director is able to take care of it. It eliminated phone calls. It eliminated lots of back and forth emails. And all of that is time, and time equals production. So if I could name one thing that's probably done, it's streamlined our processes in order for us to save time on our job sites so that we can put that towards production. So currently we use Computeries, which, as we found out when we were implementing WorkMax into our company, it does talk, so that's good. It streamlines the process of our payroll being able to be loaded into our system with just a few clicks of a button. The second software that we use is a safety software, and the safety software is what we use in order to perform safety audits on our job sites. And we are able to upload a lot of those forms into WorkMax, again, streamlining the process of keeping information all cloud-based. The only other thing that we actually use that would be considered technological is our own website, which we had a program designer come in and implement our onboarding process. And that is also used by WorkMax forms, where when our superintendents in the field are requesting to have a new employee hired on their crew, they can enter the information, including their date of birth and their name and phone number, and that's submitted into my HR department to where they can prepare for onboarding and new hires that we do several times a week at our Richardson office. I think the most surprising thing for me with WorkMax would be just the ease of use. I was really, really concerned that our guys were going to hate it. It's a new feature, it's a new app, it's something they have to do on their phone or their iPad, and I genuinely thought we would have some major kickback from our guys in the field. Surprisingly, we did not. They liked it. They grumbled at first because, again, it was new and they had to learn it, but I think they quickly realized how much better it was going to be for them in the field to be able to streamline this process, not spend a few hours on a Friday trying to tally up their time for the whole entire week. It's done. It's taken care of. They clock in and it's completed. And I think that that's probably been the most surprising thing for me, was how great they took it. My encouragement to take this on would simply be this: take the leap. It's worth it. I genuinely went through the same thing for a couple of years based on the idea that, number one, I didn't want to spend the money on a new program when I had something that was working, but that's all it was doing, was working. But also because for 3 years, I had babies all in a row. I did not want to implement a new program. But for whatever reason, in the middle of one of my pregnancies, I decided, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do this because I know this is a huge leap that we need to take. I know that this is going to streamline the process. If I can do it while in the midst of having babies and trying to run a company, anybody can implement this program. And I'm telling you right now, it is completely worth it. You need to do it.